going to read a shloka from Srimad Bhagavad-Gītā, text number 67 and 68 from second chapter of Bhagavad-Gītā. We all will recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya first, and then we'll read the shloka. We all will recite together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayed Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatim Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Read Srimad Bhagavad-Gītā, second chapter, which is titled as Contents of Gita Summarized. This chapter is also called as Sankhya Yoga. There are varieties of yogas described in Bhagavad-Gītā. Bhagavad-Gītā is a book of yoga. Our International Yoga Day is coming up next week, next Sunday, and people do different types of yogas all over the world. Bhagavad-Gītā introduces different types of yogas. So in the second chapter it introduces Sankhya Yoga. In the third chapter it introduces Karma Yoga. Then it introduces the Hatha Yoga system, the Gnana Yoga, and then ultimately, when we go to the 12th chapter, Bhagavad-Gītā brings us to the Bhakti Yoga. It's a yoga ladder. You climb one step at a time. So we are in the second chapter, which is the Sankhya Yoga, or also called as Contents of Gita Summarized. So we will read 67 and 68 two shlokas. You can repeat after me. Indriyanam hi charatam
Indriyanam hi charatam
Yanmano anuvidyate
Yanmano anuvidyate
Tad asya harati pragnam
Tadasya harati pragnam
Vayurnavam ivavasi.
Vayurnavam ivavasi.
Translation of the shloka. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So here Krishna is instructing this to Arjuna. Arjuna asks Krishna how to progress in the Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So Krishna says the first criteria for that is controlling the senses, and then he describes how to control the senses, about which we talked last time. And now Krishna is telling that if one of our senses, how many senses we have? Eyes, then nose, ears, tongue, and touch. And the mind is also called as a sense, right? Those who don't have a mind is called as, what that person is called? Nonsense. Right? So mind is also a sense. So now Krishna is telling that if we can't control even one of the senses, then we can't progress in the bhakti path or in the spiritual life. Unless, purport by Srila Prabhupada, unless all the senses are engaged in the service of Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of Krishna consciousness. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambrish, all the senses must be engaged in Krishna's service. For that is the correct technique of controlling the mind and the senses. So here Prabhupada explains that if we want to progress in the bhakti, if we want to, it's optional. We can decide which way we want to go, material life or spiritual life. And if we decide to go on the spiritual life, Prabhupada says that if one of the sense is not engaged, then it can deviate. And then connecting to the same shloka is the another text number 68, so we will recite that one also. You can repeat after me. Tasmad yasya mahabaho
तस्मै यस्य महाबाहो
निगृहातानि सर्वशा
निगृहातानि सर्वशा
इंद्रियाणि इंद्रियार्थेभ्यस्
इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
So here Arjuna is said as Mahabaho. Mahabaho means one who is very strong or powerful. So here Krishna is telling to Arjuna, therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of the steady intelligence. So here you see the Bhagavad-Gītā on the first chapter. There is a chariot here. Krishna is sitting here. Arjuna is sitting here, and there are chariots and there are horses which are
the senses.
Which are compared with the senses. Now these horses are controlled by Krishna with the rein. Now suppose these horses are out of control, what will happen? The chariot will it go properly? It will go in any direction, whichever the direction he wants to go, So then your journey will not be where you want to go. But if these horses are controlled, then the journey will be smooth, easy. So that is what Krishna is telling to Arjuna, that this 5 horses has to be controlled, and this rein is the mind, and Krishna himself is the intelligence. So with the intelligence and mind, we have to control the senses. Then only our chariot will run smoothly. Otherwise, we can land into big trouble. Right? So we will talk more about it. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, one can curb the forces of the sense gratification only by means of Krishna consciousness, or engaging all the senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that there is only one way to control the senses. You can try artificially, but then that is not easy. But the easiest way is to engage all the senses in service of Krishna. As enemies are curbed by the superior force, the senses can similarly curbed not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of Krishna. One who has thus understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in the intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called as sadhaka, or a suitable candidate for the liberation. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada here is saying that the senses are the main cause of bondage. Punarapi janma, punarapi maranam. So we all take the birth, then grow, and then we die, and then we get another birth, right? And all this cycle is the result of the karmas, and the karmas are because of the senses. We all want the pleasure, we want to have happiness one way or another, and we enjoy all the happiness through the senses. For the senses, people commit all the sorts of actions, karma, akarma, and what is the third type? Vikarma. So what is the difference? What is karma? Karma, what is karma?
Actions.
What is karma?
Actions that have reactions.
Actions which have reactions, or actions which are prescribed as per the scriptural rules and regulations. What is vikarma? Which are against the prescription. So Meat eating is a karma or vikarma?
Vikarma.
Why? Because violence is against the scripture, so it is a vikarma. Now why do people eat meat? Because the senses, they can't control the senses. So they want to eat the meat. So that is how they commit the sinful activity. Now what happens when you kill animal? Then you have to undergo the reaction. So in this life, if we cut the animal, what will happen? The next life, Krishna will give a chance for that animal to take the revenge. So here there is a plate here. This is from 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You can see that those who eat animals, they are given the life of animal in the next life. Right? So whatever, like there are some people who like sleeping, too much. So then they get the life of a
Bear.
bear in the next life. Then those who like to, people don't like to wear clothes nowadays. As soon as a little temperature 2 degrees, they remove the clothes. So then Krishna says that it is against the scripture to expose yourself, So then you are given a chance of cutting the body of a tree. So our actions give us the next life. Whatever action we performed is the result of next life. And the actions are based all the time on the base of sense gratification. Senses are the results of the next birth. Because the senses leads to action and actions leads to reaction. So we have the material senses, right? We have 2 types of body inside us. We have a material senses and the spiritual senses. Okay, so our soul is a spiritual entity and our body is the material entity. Now when we eat, does the food is required for the soul to survive? Does Atma need a food? Atma?
Yes.
Atma? Does Atma need a food? Prabhuji?
Yes.
आप आत्मा को क्या खिलाते हैं रोज प्रभुजी? दिनेश प्रभु?
By doing the pratma or
Yes.
kirtan.
So that is called as spiritual life, right? So what is the material life and what is the spiritual life? So when you satisfy the material essential requirement, it is called as material life, and when we satisfy the spirit soul, which is called as spiritual life. So we have to decide how much is our material life and how much is our spiritual life. So the proportion. Now what is the difference? We talked about it last time, material and spiritual. What is difference? What is material and what is spiritual?
Material is temporary and spiritual goes on forever.
Wonderful, Prabhuji was very attentive. So material is temporary. Material senses are, whatever the karmas we do upon the material senses is temporary. And that is what Krishna is asking Arjuna, that you should work on the spiritual life. And that is called as intelligence. So that's what we are going to talk about. Whatever Krishna has said to Arjuna, we are going to elaborate that on the spiritual life. How do we do that? How do we engage ourselves in the spiritual life? Right? So this is based on the teachings of 6 Goswamis, and these 6 Goswamis are from Vrindavan. Here in this picture, maybe we can switch off one of the lights so we can see that. Yes. So there are 6 Goswamis in the Vrindavan, and their life and their teachings are supplementing to what Krishna is telling to Arjuna, that how to live your life spiritually. Now, why should we live the life spiritually and what is the requirement? We'll talk about it during the course. So there are 6 Goswamis. All these 6 Goswamis, 2 of them are the brothers.